Welcome to the symposium on the topic of the design and evaluation of science learning activities in immersive virtual reality. This project is funded by the Australian Research Council Discovery Project Scheme. In this presentation, I will refer to immersive virtual reality as IVR. For the past several years, our project team has researched on IVR and its educational affordances. We conducted a series of systematic literature reviews, designed 3 sets of IVR-based learning activities, and collected data from more than 140 students. In the process, we learned a lot in terms of what it takes to explore educational affordances of IVR. I'm sure we will learn more as we delve into data analysis in the next several months. Today, we are sharing what we have learned so far, and we will come back and share the findings next year at ASERA. We have 3 presentations in the symposium. My talk, the first of the symposium, will give you a quick overview of the current status of IVR in education, the framework for design and evaluation of IVR learning activities, and our design principles. The second speaker, Dewey, will share what we have found so far about the learning affordances of 3 different learning media, including IVR. About 60 non-chemistry major university students participated in the study to experience all 3 learning media in a different sequence. Our last speaker, Henry, will discuss how students' prior knowledge interacted with students' learning experiences in IVR. About 80 chemistry majors university students went through a series of IVR learning activities on 3 different topics. But today, he's going to share the findings from the first set of learning activities. David and Roy will lead the discussion at the end of the talk. Okay, let's begin. What is immersive virtual reality? It is a new advanced visualization. As soon as you put an IVR headset on, your physical environment disappears and you feel you are transported to a new virtual environment. You may feel you became a different person, exploring a different world. IVR is a fast-developing technology with a growing market demand. Along with gaming, advertising, and job and safety training, education is a field many experts see as the area that could benefit from the adoption of IVR. In the context of education and training, IVR has demonstrated its great potential in providing unique and powerful experiences in the following areas. Experiencing something impossible. With the IVR headsets, users could become a person of different gender, age, and ethnicity. It is often used to build empathy. Practicing dangerous tasks, such as disaster management or rescue operations for job training. Having an experience that is often too expensive to have, such as exploring faraway places without paying heaps of money. The commonality of these great experiences is that they combine advanced 3D visualization and motion tracking capabilities to support realistic, intuitive actions so that users can complete the given tasks and experience satisfying and sometimes surprising consequences. Based on what we know as the strengths of IVR, we conducted systematic literature reviews on IVR-based learning activities. One of the most common approaches was presenting 3D films for virtual field trips, such as Google Expedition. They adopted the advantages of 3D visualization, but without much interactive features or link to specific learning tasks. Another common approach was presenting 3D objects with some basic interactivity. But the actions do not have any relevance to learning. All they do is presenting a large amount of information to cause an information overload. Other interactive applications were found in virtual lab applications with advanced lab equipment. However, the lab-based actions such as pipetting or pouring liquid were not mirrored in a virtual environment to learn and practice lab techniques, and the lab procedures were pretty prescriptive. Some game-oriented applications, such as becoming an immune system army pilot to destroy pathogens, were also observed, but they did not show a clear link to the learner's educational context or resulting in positive learning outcomes. What we noticed from the review of research on IVR-based learning activities could be summarized to the following 4 points. 1. The IVR applications utilized some aspects of IVR, such as 3D visualization and interactive intuitive actions. Oftentimes, however, the visualized objects and body movements were not linked to achieving their learning objectives, and sometimes they were causing confusion or distraction rather than engaging students into learning. 2. Testing or implementation of the IVR applications were conducted away from actual teaching and learning settings. Many of them were conducted in psychology or engineering labs on university campuses without any direct connection to the curriculum or educational specialist input. Most of all, what's greatly missing was human-to-human interactions. Most applications assumed a single user working alone in a virtual environment without social interactions with peers or teachers. According to a survey, 77% of IVR users wish to have social interactions in virtual environment. 4. About half of the IVR applications in research studies were developed by commercial vendors, which lacked systematic design principles or targeted to achieving specific learning outcomes. Consequently, the evaluation of IVR applications often focused on novelty effects from users' perspective or simple information retention tests. It is observed that many schools, especially independent private schools in Australia, have purchased expensive IVR headsets to demonstrate the school's resourcefulness. However, because of the lack of educational content, most of the IVR headsets have not been used effectively. To advance research on educational affordances of IVR for science learning and teaching, we need to have a framework that highlights the key considerations in the development and evaluation of learning activities with IVR. Specifically, the framework needs to help us understand the technology of IVR and find ways to use it to enhance learning. It took some time for our research team to have a reasonable grasp of the technology and map out how we would like to use it for designing learning activities. A framework needs to serve as a guide to consider and reflect on the alignment of technological features such as 3D visualization and interactive motions in relation to the learning tasks. When adopting new technology tools, it is easy to isolate the technology from the educational context, as we saw in the earlier slides. The framework needs to help us consider the educational context as a whole, where teachers, students, and curriculum, as well as the technology, are all parts of a learning ecosystem. Based on social constructivist pedagogy, the framework needs to remind the educators that it is critically important not only to encourage human-to-human interactions, but to make them collaborative dialogue interactions within IVR environments. When the framework helps us achieve all the points mentioned above, the design and evaluation of IVR-based learning activities could become more systematic and effective. Based on critical evaluation of the literature and our experiences, we propose a design and evaluation framework called Immersive Learning Experience Framework. In this framework, we adapt Didi's immersive interface components and Mihye's flow theory. The framework includes both the capabilities of the technology and the educational experience we are targeting. For the technology components, we consider how we are tapping into 3D visualization capabilities of IVR as sensory component, and how we are encouraging interactive and intuitive motions in IVR as actional component. For the educational experience components, We identify the nature of the task within the educational context as narrative component and collaborative social interactions as social component for IVR developers, evaluators, and science educators to consider for meaningful engagement and learning. In the next section, I will discuss how the Immersive Learning Experience Framework guided the design of 3 IVR learning activities we developed for the project. The 3 IVR applications include snowflake ice crystals, where students investigate how the polarity of water molecule contributes to forming 6-fold symmetry of ice crystals. Sweet taste receptor, where students explore how the shape and structure of a molecule influences its chemical interactions, such as being recognized as sweet or bitter. An enzyme-substrate reaction, where students see how polarity and structure of molecules influence enzyme-substrate reactions in our body. One of the first topics in introductory chemistry units is polarity and hydrogen bond. This snowflake IVR application is built on the idea of polarity and hydrogen bond. When the program starts, students can see they are in Winter Wonderland. The program poses a question how they can explain the shape of snowflake with what they already know about water molecules. When they move to the next scene, students explore how 2 water molecules would interact and make hydrogen bonds, changing the angle and distance between water molecules. Then students move to the next scene to form hydrogen bonds around one center water molecule to form a tetrahedral structure. Adding more water molecules together, students see what shape many water molecules would form as a single layer and multi-layer structure. Afterwards, they compare the submicroscopic structure of many water molecules with the shape of snowflake. We have 2 students paired up so that they can explore the virtual environments together and share and develop their ideas further. Okay, let's go back to the Immersive Learning Experience Framework and examine how it helped the design of the learning activities with IVR. Sensory is part of the technological capabilities, what we can do better with the technology. In chemistry, the visualization of molecular world is essential. However, traditional media are limited in showing 3D structures of molecules and dynamic nature of molecular interactions, especially for complex molecules. In the snowflake ice crystal IVR learning activities, we are showing hundreds of water molecules so that students can appreciate how they can apply and integrate the information they already have to explain the simple and at the same time complex natural phenomenon. The second technological component is actional, using motion tracking and interactivity to support embodied learning. In chemistry, understanding the interactions between molecules is important. If students can use their own body movement to explore molecular interactions and position molecules for reactions to happen, they will understand molecular interactions much better. In the snowflake ice crystal learning activities, students can make and break bonds by pulling molecules together or apart, and they can get different perspectives by moving their bodies and changing the viewing angles. The next component is about what learning experiences we offer to students. Designing learning tasks need to be grounded in good understanding of where students are, what learning we are targeting, what tasks would engage students in thinking, and then how we are going to evaluate the learning outcomes. In our IVR learning activities, we wanted students to engage in thinking and learning and use the information they already have to build more comprehensive scientific understanding. So, in the snowflake ice crystal IVR learning activities, we started with a really simple molecule, water, and helped students connect various pieces of information. We used pre-interviews to let students know that we are not seeking simple correct answers, but their own reasoning. In the IVR application itself, we provided adaptive feedback and continuously asked students to verbalize their reasoning. The last component is also about what experiences we offer with the IVR learning activities. Science educators know the importance of productive interactions with peers and teachers. To support collaborative knowledge construction within the virtual environment, we prompt students to come up with their own answers and share them, consider different perspectives, and reflect on their ideas further. We ran a series of IVR sessions with 140 students. All students spent about 3 to 4 hours going through the series of learning activities. Even though the sessions were long, the participating students did not realize how time was passing. When they took their IVR headsets off, the first thing they would say was, "Wow, that was amazing! Fascinating! That was a real fun experience. Can we download the app and try it at home?" Many students commented the IVR experience was very powerful and intriguing, and they wanted to learn chemistry more with the IVR. When we asked the students what made them feel that way, some attributed their positive responses to the 3D visualization of a complex structure of water molecules and intuitive interactive actions of IVR. Many of them highly appreciated the way the task was arranged and their collaborative interactions with peers. Dewey and Henry will talk more about students learning from the IVR activities later in the symposium. From the developer's point of view, building and running the IVR learning activities was challenging, but at the same time, it has been an extremely stimulating, rewarding experience. Besides the technical challenges of working with the new technology, we constantly debated what would be the right level and amount of guidance to support students' meaning-making processes in IVR. We wanted to give room for students to freely explore their ideas and get an aha moment, but we also did not want students to feel frustrated of not knowing how to proceed with the given tasks. We are currently experimenting and refining the adaptive feedback mechanisms to accommodate a diverse range of students' background knowledge, experience, and attitudes. In this presentation, I discussed the immersive learning experience as the design and evaluation framework for IVR-based learning activities, and used our snowflake ice crystal IVR activities as an example to demonstrate how the framework would aid the design of IVR-based learning activities. It may be difficult for the audience to feel the power of the IVR learning activities without experiencing them firsthand. We regret that we could not give you the experience of the IVR activities in person at this conference. Our project team created several videos and uploaded them to the YouTube so that you would get a better sense of how students would interact in the IVR environment. Please visit the YouTube channel called Immersive Chemistry Visualization, or you can type https://tiny.1/chemivr. Thank you so much for your attention.